Guys, I'm going to just show the chop breakdown. My hand in my opponent's crotch, deep in that crotch, and I want to really emphasize dropping that shoulder, really controlling that guy's hips, really taking, if I'm chopping with my right arm tight waist guy, I'm going to take Robert's hip over that shoulder rather than chop the arm into my hand. I want to take this hip toward that hand, okay? So I do that by my back leg, my chest and back, lower back, getting on him properly. My back leg really working up Robert's butt, really bumping that weight forward, and I'm doing it with my arm. So my arm, in essence, is pulling his hip into my leg. That way I don't lose him, okay? So his hip is in between my back knee, which is up his rear, and my hand in his crotch. And that's tough. That's tough for the guy to elevate, and that's tough for the guy to roll. Now, I simply pivot on my knee, which is the next position I'll show here, but to get this hand, I don't want to chop that hand in. I want to take Robert's hips, continue to pivot on my knee until I get that wrist right. Okay, to get another view of this, I want to make sure that you guys can clearly understand. I want to take Robert in a 3/4 circle, and I want to pivot on that knee, my knee that's down, but my back knee's working, along with obviously my deep waist hand into his crotch, and I'm going to pivot Robert over his left shoulder. If I'm a right-hand tight waist guy, you can pick it up from here and kind of understand as I demonstrate and pivot on my left knee. I take Robert in a 3/4 circle, and you can see how I can get that wrist easily, always pulling that wrist across his body to his far hip rather than up here. Good guys can peel their arm and shift and scrape there, as Robert did. I want to peel down to that wrist, and we'll get into that later here, but I really can work a lot of things once I get this wrist, once I control that guy's hips. Okay, our next situation is, I always like to teach our guys when they're on their feet, you got to be able to attack both legs, right? If I'm a right-hand high crotch, I got to be able to have a single leg to the other side. I got to have something over the top. So I have to be multi-dimensional on my feet, and the same thing we do on top. On top position, maybe the guys can prevent me from getting his left wrist. I got to be able to have some other option to get to the other side of the guy's body. And so that's really what we teach and emphasize here at Nebraska. So if I'm a left-hand tight waist or right-hand tight waist guy, and I'm trying to get Robert's arm, and he's not preventing me from doing that, I got to have another option. So my hands are going to change here, and all I'm going to do is get a wrist inside bar on the other side. Some of our guys on top position, like Robert, for instance, he's got a tight waist one side, and he can tight waist back the other side, which is a great option too. So I'm just going to inside wrist. So we'll start with a chop. Robert, resist. I'm going to shift my chest, and I'll demonstrate that as we go here. So I'm taking him in a 3/4 circle, but Robert's turning his hip hard, right? So all I'm going to do is my hips re-engage, and as I go, my chest is going to shift over Robert's back. So my chest is pivoting on Robert. Robert's not allowing me to have that wrist. Now I'm going to change my hip pressure. My right hand goes to the wrist right here. My left hand comes inside his crotch. My hips get engaged. Instead of my right leg working so much, my left leg works. I get that wrist, get my hips out to the side, get weight up on his head and shoulders. Notice how my knees got in between Robert's hips and knees to spread him out. Now I could pull him down, pull his hip down, pull his foot down. If he's based up on his knees, I can pull his foot down, attack his wrist, get that inside bar.